Hello, welcome back. Vox6 for Bolt here, bringing you another YouTube video. Today we are going to be making a new YouTube logo and YouTube intro. This is my current one, which I made in MS Paint a couple years ago. So I'm going to make a new one in Blender. I'm using Blender 2.8. It doesn't say it anywhere. I haven't got the new Blender yet. So yeah, first we'll design it in MS Paint. So, oh, there's the fill. What we'll do is we'll have just our standard logo. This is just our old one, then we add a like that. So what we're going to do is these will be, we'll have emission textures, so they'll emit light, render it out in cycles. So and then this will be reflective, so it will be an actual 3D object. And then in the background there will be a blue gradient. So in the center it will be a darker blue. So it will be like that. And then there'll be, so like that, it'll be a gradient in the background. So that's what we're going to make. Let's get on with it. So we can delete the standard cube. Okay, so we can delete the cube. You can also delete the camera and the A to select everything, or A to deselect everything. Middle mouse click to move, shift and middle mouse click, you can move the camera around. If you click on something and then press the, on the numpad, where the bottom right one on the numpad, delete the dot, and then you can also hold control middle click to zoom, or a scroll wheel. Let's just delete everything. Shift A, plane, scale it up 25. There we go. So we'll do materials last. Okay, now we can just hide that. Then we're going to want to import STL. Alright, so I've just imported a model, though it'll be in the description. I just quickly made it up in Fusion 360. -30. There we go. So now we have the bolt. Now we need to make the lightning bolts. So Shift A, plane, GX, focus. So Shift A to add in, and then G to move it, then GX to move it along the X axis, Tab to go into edit mode. So what we could do is S to scale to move them together, G to move them up there, S to scale them together, then E to extrude, basically just duplicate that section. There we go. Then tab to stop editing. Scale it up. Scale that down. Scale Y. Shift D. Duplicate R, Y, 180. Okay, so now they're just 2D planes. So what we want to do is A, E, Z, extrude them. There we go. Now that's a solid object. Tab, A, E for extrude, Z for the Z axis, or Z, and extrude, and then tab. And then now we have this. Then just adjust it to how you want it to be. Okay, now we've got this, we can start working on the textures. This is just going to be the logo first of all, so it doesn't need any animation. So first the background plane, add a new one. Background. Actually, I need to name this. Just double click on it to rename it. These don't need to be renamed. So that as a texture. Lightning. Then just click that. Lightning. And we'll set that to material and call that bolt. So now split the screen so you see there's that little cutout. Just click on it, then shader editor, just click that thing there. Okay, so now I press N so we can do that. And you see that little 2 up at the top, don't click it, but that means that is shared by 2 different objects. Okay, so just same movement stuff, so just G to move it about. Shift A, then just search emission shader. Okay, so now we have this. Now Shift A, add shader. I need to remember which one it is. It is an add shader. So drag. So just click and drag on the little dots. Now we want to hop into rendered view. So right now if you go into this tab here, this is the render engine. Currently it's an Eevee. Change it over to cycles. So Eevee's for more like kind of like quick rendering animation, like it's kind of like a game rendering engine. How it renders that quickly. Cycles is ray tracing. Now I have, so you can either use it to use CPU or a GPU. I said it's a GPU because I have quite a nice one. And then edit. To get that, you go into edit, preferences, system, and you want to either set it to CUDA, optics, or OpenCL. Now I don't have a optics enabled GPU or OpenCL. Optics is the best one, but I'll just use CUDA for now. I might actually be able to with my card, I just need the different stuff. So then performance, with a GPU you want to set it quite high. So I like to set mine at 256. So now this, you'll just click on it, set it to whatever color you want it to be at. I'll set to that, then you can up the strength. I'll set mine to about 12.5 and then change the base color what you want that about. You can't really see it that much, but I'll set it to about a yellow. Now we can add a bit of noise to the emission, which I like to do just because noise looks really cool. So noise texture, then I want to put that into there. You could put that into there as well, but that makes it look weird, or you can move it into there. But you see how that goes really dark. So what we want is a math node, so math, plug that into the top one, change it to multiply, set that to something like 20, 20, 25. So that's something like 12. Keep the detail low at 1.5. To keep that down a bit low, and then add a bit of distortion. Okay, now you can't really see it that well, but there, that is there. Now we're going to move on to the bolt. For this, we can use an actual texture, so we need to download one. So CC0 textures is a good place to get it from, and then we can just search metal, and then you want quite a shiny metal. Let's use this one. So download 2K, or you go 4K, 8K. Just click on it and it'll download, and it's taking a while. Then what you want to do is unzip it. I'll do that off camera. Now what you also want to do is make sure it's on the same file as where you save it. So save. Now I always save mine on my F drive in Blender. Let's make a new file, and this will be YouTube logo. So I just save all my stuff on the F drive. It's a big disk drive, so it's a bit slower, but it's got a lot more storage. Save file, and then make sure that so I have all these, make sure that the actual the texture you want to use, I already have that undownloaded. Is in that file. And then what you want to do, go into preferences, go into add-ons, and search up Node Wrangler. Make sure you have that downloaded, and then click on this and do Control-Shift-T, and it opens it up. Then go to where your texture file is located, highlight them all, Principled Texture Setup, and then it does this for you. And then make sure that for your metallic you have the correct one, because it's generally a bit off. Now I can't really see this that well, so what I'm going to do is add in a quick light, just a point light. Go into light settings and set it up to 500, so I can see it a bit better. Tab A U, and then Smart UV Project if you're using the UV coordinates for more complicated geometry. There we go, now it's reflecting a bit better. And then Specular, that's the highlights, so you can up them, bet more highlights, or get rid of them. I like to put mine up a little bit higher, and then to just change the color of it. And then now for the plane, this is where it's going to be a bit harder. Shift A, we want a gradient texture coordinate. Right, let's make it so we can see it a bit better. So add a math, and then change it to multiply. Put that up to like 2, and then we can see it a bit better. Then set it to object. So you want spherical, and then you change this number for the actual gradient itself. Then what we want is a color ramp. So that takes so at this end is 1, which is black. This end is 0, which is white. So what we can do is we can change it to color. So we want like a light blue on the outside. So yeah, just mess about with this till you get it to how you want it. Change this over to texture view a minute. Might actually make it easier to see. Yeah, there we go. So now we're in texture view, we can actually see a bit easier. Now let's change back over to rendered view. So now we have this. And we have this light, we can up the power. This is what I always struggle with, merging the two things. There we go. So we can up the power of the light. We change it, I think we change it to either a yellow or a nice blue. There we go. 0.15. 650. There we go. We don't have a camera though, so we can't go to camera view. So Shift A, camera. Then center up how you want it. Center up your view. I'm staying in texture view from now on, and then Controls Shift 0 on the number pad. Control Alt 0 on the number pad, I mean. And then what you can do is G. You can just frame up your shot how you want it, like that. Now you have your camera view. So what you might want to do now is just split your view up and then change this one to rendered view. You could also change that one to shader editor, but that's up to you. Now press F12 to get a render. Is it in display view? Yes, in display view. So now this will render out quickly. Now you see how it's quite noisy, like around here, and also how there's no light on top of this. So what we want to do is move these up a bit, and also get rid of all that noise. So go back into Blender, then go into here. This changes your output from temporary file to where you want it to be. Just put it there. And then I like to set it to FFmpeg for when I'm doing video, and PNG for pictures. So go into this, which is the images, and then go down to denoising, turn it on. Don't really need to do anything here. You can also do some stuff in the compositing tab to make the denoising a bit better. If I can remember how to do that, I'll show you how to do that. So yeah, just in here. Don't want to do that for now though. So now we need to move these up above this. So G, Z, there we go. And I think we'll want to move this up there. Okay, so now we've got that looking a bit nicer. So now let's move this down slightly. Bolt. Okay, now let's press F12. Now it's going to render it out again. But then once it renders out the frames, it will start denoising those frames. This step will be better if you have will be faster if you have a faster graphics card. And you can also put up the settings a bit higher so it looks nicer. But the one I don't really have that faster graphics card. I will get a new one soon, hopefully. But yeah, I don't really like how there's not really much light on this area here. It just looks a bit plain. So maybe we give it a bit of rotation. But look, you can see the noise on here. And look, you see, sometimes the denoising isn't that nice. Like here, doesn't look that nice. So we need to do the better denoising for that, which I'll have to remember how to do now. Because it kind of just blurs it, but it still has a grainy texture. There we go. Now, it does save automatically, but if you want, you can click save and V2. So that's the second one we've rendered out. Because that didn't really like that there. So R, Y, so rotate. Then Y-axis, 30 degrees. Nah, that down a little bit. These aren't actually centered. There we go. That just puts it to the middle of the actual object itself. So now what we can do is Alt-G to reset it. First we want to move them up, G, Z. Now we want to take them G, X. Now do this by a certain number so that it is even. G, X minus 3.5. G, X 3.5. Then shift click to select them both, G, Y. Now we can move it like that. Then we can do the same with this, Alt G, G, Y, move it down a little bit, G, Z, move it up slightly. And now GX 2, 1.25, GX negative 1.25, and that says what are the values in the top left there. So now we've got that. Okay. Kind of liking that. I'd say that looks right. Okay, so now what we want to do is the better denoising. So that is in compositing. So remember to save. Now let me just try and remember how to do this. Okay, so I've remembered the thing is this here. So we need use nodes. So what we want is we want a denoise. Denoise. Don't want that. We want just those three going into it like that. And then I think we can turn off denoising in here. Now if we render out again, it should have a better denoise. I hope. It does it afterwards all in one go as well, rather than per square. If you want me to upload some more Blender tutorials and other tutorial videos, then please hit the like button so I know that you like this sort of stuff. Also give me a comment on other stuff you'd like to see. So yes, continue. Alright, so now we've got this. It's going to composite it together. So it's not finished compositing it yet. We just have to wait a little bit more, and when it's finished compositing it should look much better. There we go. And see how it's like smooth rather than all blotchy. Now with this, I don't really like the amount of noise on here, so I'm going to decrease the scale. So now let's go into this, go down to here, and then we change. So I change this to 40, so we have a seed. And let's half this, so change it to 6.
A bit less distortion. A bit more roughness, a bit more detail.
That should look a bit better now. Oh, that's not. There we go. Change that back to rendered view. So control save, don't forget. And now, what was it we wanted to do? Oh wait, that's it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this, bump it up to 256. So double what it was before. Then hit render, and this should be our final render. There we go. And image, save, final V1. So yes, it is still V1 because if I want to make some changes, I always can go back. Okay, now let's change this back to 128. That's all for the tutorial on how to make a logo. The next tutorial will be how to make an animated intro using Blender. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!